Alright, so hi, my name is Onali and I'm an addiction and trauma therapist. Today I wanted to talk about something which was very important in my life, something that has helped me a lot and has really paved the way of my understanding of both addiction and trauma, and that is recovery. Okay, so specifically the word recovery, which comes from the Narcotics Anonymous literature. So yeah, recovery का मतलब होता है कि the person who is an addict, and that could be chemical, non-chemical, someone whose life is in at the moment suffering because of his obsession with that, or her obsession with that particular substance, relationship, item, place, could be anything. Okay, that addiction is used as a substitution to avoid the feeling of pain or suffering, basically, which could be any kind of discomfort or feeling that's recognizing or coming up. Addiction is used as a solution to that feeling, and that feeling has manifested itself over a lifetime. There would have been multiple events, genetics, everything that comes into play when you deal with addiction. Okay? Recovery is the alternate lifestyle. Recovery is that when there comes a point in an addict's life which is called hitting bottom. Okay, and what happens is that once the suffering of the using becomes so high that the suffering of the past becomes incomparable, and the addict is forced to look at his past, to solve it, or to feel it, to recognize it, to embrace it, and to leave the suffering of the using. That's the only time when an addict sort of like decides to come into recovery. Okay. Recovery and sobriety are two different things. Sobriety means that you stop using the drug. Recovery means that you actually start to feel the feelings that are taking place. Recovery becomes a lifelong journey, and it is a really step-by-step, day-to-day process. What comes out of recovery, though, is a real sense of purpose and a real sense of some people say enlightenment, some people say recognition, but there's an awareness of self and an authentic power that you get when you come into recovery. And recovery is a really beautiful place to be in. You really have gone through a journey in order to get to a point of recovery. And that journey could not have come without reaching that place of hitting bottom. I would like you guys to use this same principle of recovery that we learned in our addiction recovery and apply it to your life today. Considering the COVID situation that's happening all around, or just the situation that's taking place in your life at the moment, if there is suffering, and if you're using something to cope with that sense of suffering, it's absolutely normal. It's absolutely alright. Become aware of that time when that using of that particular item, person, situation, the using of that makes you suffer more than the pain of actually missing out. That would be your point of hitting bottom. That would be the point in which you'll be the most overwhelmed, the most distraught, the most in pain, the most isolated. It is really a very dark space to be in. But what I invite you is to become aware of what happens after that spot. What happens after that spot is that you recognize what is actually happening, the real suffering that is taking place, which is inside. And that becomes the journey that you take your first step towards recovery. In the Narcotics Anonymous program, there are 12 steps that you take on this journey of recovery. And I want to share the first 3 with you, which is the most important, or which the initial ones. The first one is, we admit we were powerless over our addictions and our life had become unmanageable. It is very important to admit that this point has happened. Secondly, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves had restored us to sanity. And this is a power, like this is not God, this is a power. This could be a teacher, this could be someone who's already in the program, this could be someone who's gotten who knows the way out of this state that you've been in. There are people that have gone through this. You're not alone. At this moment, millions of people are going through the exact same thing you're going through. And the third step is made a decision to turn our will and our life over to the care of God as we understood Him. So again, we're not going into the cultural understanding of God, we're going into a higher sense of God. So that could be as our understanding of God. So that means a higher purpose, an entity, karma, time, nature. I don't want to limit your understanding of what God can be, but that's that insight that you have inside of you, your own higher purpose. That could also be it. I know it's a lot of information to sort of like cram into a really small video. Recovery is a lifelong journey, you know. But I would just invite you guys to just see things from the recovery perspective. What needs to be done? How can we do it? And what awaits us at the end of that journey is something that's really sort of like unique to your each and every single one's personal life. That is where it's at. I'd like to thank everyone for the time that they've given me today, and I hope to see you soon as well.